Hello, I'm Joel Blackford with Beth Hesed Sabbath Fellowship. Thank you for joining us. We're virtual only, based out of St. Paul, Minnesota. The phone number works if you'd like to contact us. We do the thought behind the thought. The news is best given to you by John Haller. He does a marvelous job of digging up 80 hours a week of stories, okay, of what's going on. I do more of what you need to know, your reality, our existence, like a magazine, like a 60 Minutes that's biblical. So we are solving little pieces of Revelation each week. This is mostly Revelation 17 and 18. It deals with Nimrod. It deals with the beast system. It deals with the whore of Babylon and things like that. And the UN is involved in this. They're building their system. That was the big story of the week, and I have to talk about this. It's huge. So they had their Summit of the Future this week, and you had players behind the scenes and in front of the scenes. The players behind the scenes are ready to assemble. It's that close. And they're building their Babylon. So this is Revelation 17 and 18. And there's Summit of the Future. So what are we trying to do here? We're trying to show you that the players are assembling and that Babylon is there and it's exerting power over all of us. It's biblical. It's in the news and it's prophecy. So once again, Nimrod was the first narcissist. Cush fathered Nimrod, who was the first powerful ruler on earth, the first narcissist. He was a mighty hunter in the face of Yud-He Vav-He. This is why people say, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter in the face, literally in his face, of Adonai. His kingdom began in Babel, Erech, Akkad, Calneh, and out of the land of Shinar. Ashur went out from the land and built Nineveh, the city Rehovot and Kalach and Rezin between Nineveh and Kalach. That is one of the great, that is one the great city, Genesis 10, 8 through 12. I'm arguing that Nimrod is about to arise again, and he will be in the face of our God, our Father. And that's what you're seeing right now as the UN mounts this attack in the face, and they're building Babylon. Okay, so that's Nimrod there. And then we're going to cite Revelation 17 so you can see some of the verses. And I'm reading more on the left-hand side here from the Hebrew version of Revelation 17. With whom the kings of the earth commit adultery, and those whom she makes drunk with her wine. So he brought me into the wilderness, and I saw a woman who sat on the animal, the beast, whose appearance was like the appearance of lilies, and full of names of reproach, and he had 7 heads, 10 horns, and the woman was clothed with red garments, with the appearance of lilies. Very important that is different than the purple. It's lilies, and that's part of the beast system. And upon her there was much gold and goodly stones and gems, and there was a golden cup in her hand, full of uncleanness. And on her forehead was written the name of the secret of the great city Babel, the mother of the harlots and the uncleanness of the earth. And I saw the woman drank of the blood of the set-apart ones, the holy ones, the Kedoshim, and of the blood of the testimony of Yeshua, and I had great amazement when I saw her. I'm saying it's assembling right now. It's literally, they're like a boa constrictor, a serpent, kind of constraining us. So it's Babel the Great, mother of horrors and of earth's obscenities. Revelation 17, basically 2 through 6, a little bit of 7 in there too. So basically, I want you to see that word lily again, because it's very interesting, and it pops up 3-4 different times from sources that the beast system is based on lilies, and we're getting closer to that too. Once again, the woman is the United Nations, which curses Israel with the tacit blessings of our kings, our United States kings, because they're the kings of the earth. They have the ability to nuke the earth, okay? They're kings. From Nixon forward. She sits on many waters. That's the peoples in the Bible. You see in Revelation 17:15 that the peoples are the waters, and the United Nations sits on many peoples. They literally sit on it. And they're based in New York City. That's the city there. And who has made nuclear power the life and death? So they've basically, the United States has said we have the power of life and death over the whole world since 1945, but especially in the 60s and 70s as Jerusalem was reconquered. So what changed? Really, 1967, when in 6667, they handed back the Temple Mount. And God said, okay, fine, things will change then. And so, but the clock is starting to tick again, and everything's coalescing right now. So she sits on the many waters, the many peoples, the United Nations. So my buddy Bill Schnoebelen came out with a couple of videos lately where the solstices are critical, and so the United Nations picked a solstice day, the fall solstice. Okay, so equinox 2024 this weekend, which is September 22nd, 2024. And guess what? The United Nations was decreeing their huge, we'll talk about it, decrement. And so equinox, he's citing the 56-year blood sacrifice system going back to 1968 with the elections and some of the same things and the assassinations and whatever else. So, yeah. So pray for Trump, obviously, pray for our leaders, but keep in mind that many of them are controlled by the United Nations and by a beast system of some sort, or whatever the system happens, the Illuminati possibly, okay? So he's expecting chaos, other people are too, so thank you, Bill Schnoebelen, for that. Yeah, Babylon is building right now. So then he also cites it in this video too, ceremonial magic and spiritual warfare, that we're building Babylon. Solstice warning. Okay, so that's with one accord. Love Bill, great guy. Okay, now let's go back to this one more time. That is a little bit. Some of the symbolism is based on the Nazi surface cross, and so just keep that in mind. That's pagan cultures. That Nazi swastika is pagan, very, very pagan, and Bill knows that. He came from that side. So this is from We Moon, and they're talking about the equinox is the fall holy day, and it's a writing day, and so this is one of their articles from a year ago, fall equinox rituals and traditions. What is the fall equinox and when? Fall equinox starts when the sun moves into Libra, September 22nd. This marks the start of the fall season, the point in the sky where the day and the night are equal in length. We also call it Mabon. Fall equinox is a special time of the year, sometimes known as the witches' Thanksgiving, and a great shift occurs at that point in time. The summit occurred on that same time frame, so September 22nd, there you go, you see 20th through the 21st, and then 22nd through the 23rd summit itself. Started on the 22nd, so they were decreeing world decrees on all of us based on the equinox. They know this is the witches' Thanksgiving, and they were giving Thanksgiving. So where did this all start? It started with Nimrod, then it was passed along through Alice Bailey, which is part of Aleister Crowley's group, and the lady that supported abortions, I'm blanking on her name, Blavatsky, you know who she is. And so Alice Bailey predicted 2025 was going to be a huge year. And she's a prophet like Lucifer. So her initiation from Alice Bailey, of great interest to all desiring more knowledge of the problems of psychology and psychical research, describes man's road to divinity, the divine hierarchy of this planet. And so you get your copy for $3.50. Send it to Lucifer Publishing Company, which is behind the United Nations. Now, see, she switched it out to Lucis later on. You'll see that on the next slide. That's Babylon. That's Babylon. So once again, it went from Lucifer Publishing to Lucis Publishing. And so she had a 10-point plan of how to build Babylon through the United Nations. So she's part of demons, Satanists, and the United Nations. Here's the evil 10-point plan for the Charter of the UN from Alice Bailey and her Luciferian Theosophists. And that's part of the thing that Blavatsky and Aleister Crowley boasted too. Take God and prayer out of the education system. Reduce parental authority over your children. Destroy the Judeo-Christian family structure or the traditional Christian family structure. If sex is free, then make abortion legal and make it easy. Make divorce easy and legal. Free people from the concept of marriage for life. Make homosexuality an alternative lifestyle. Debase art. Make it run mad. Use media to promote and change mindset. Create an interfaith movement. They're doing it. It's overwhelming. It's so easy to see right now. And so this is from Alice Bailey. So spiritualism and the UN part 1. And so basically she had white magic. She sounded like a Christian. She always talked like a Christian, but she was always into white magic. And so once again, I showed you Lucifer Publishing. Then she turned it into Lucis Publishing later on. And you can see the symbolism over there too. It's ancient Egypt. It's Babylon too. It just moves from Babylon to Egypt and moves around all the time. Right now, it's in part in Berlin because the seat of Satan is in Berlin on Museum Island. So this is Alice Bailey. Her demon that she contacted was called DK. And so DK, Dijwal Cool. Okay. And so this guy would talk to her and give her these invocations and incantations. I don't want to read it because they're saying, may Christ return to earth, but it's not that Christ. It's not Yeshua. You know what? I'll just read it to you. That's fine. But he was a Tibetan monk that died, and she was able to channel him. Okay. And so from the point of light within the mind of God, let the light stream forth into the minds of men. Yeah, that's an incantation. It's not that light that you want. But basically, she's using it to make it seem like this is Yeshua. It's not. It's another false light. Okay, so yeah, it's disgusting. You can pause it and read it for yourself. I want to vomit whenever I read that kind of stuff. And then it was passed on to Peter Sutherland, who said via the Trilateral Commission and the UN that we need to share the burden. We need migration across the planet. And what you're doing is we're paying for people that aren't ready to go yet. And so immigration is wonderful. Mass immigration is chaos, and that's what they're bringing. So Peter Sutherland has basically forced contracts on the nations of the earth to destabilize them. And they know what they're doing. They're trying to do this. So former United Nations Special Representative of the Secretary General for International Migration. And my, did he do a good job, if that is such a good thing. Okay, so what has it given us? Chaos everywhere. 15,000 killer migrants in the U.S., according to the New York Post, okay? And shocking numbers from ICE. And Harris won't do anything about it. And then the types of people, the criminality that's being brought in into New York City, into Texas, into Aurora. It's horrific for us. It's overwhelming us, and they know that. They want chaos. So this is Antonio Gutierrez, he's from Portugal, and he is a Marxist. He's called a socialist. No, he was a Marxist and is a Marxist to this day. Richard Wurmbrand wrote on Marx and Satan, and so Gutierrez is embodying that. And so this is in these times, this article, where they're saying, oh, he's not that bad. He isn't perfect, but he's been a consistent voice for multiculturalism in an increasingly right-wing world. No, it isn't. The world is not increasingly right-wing. It's going chaotic. Okay, there are a few voices like us. So the Secretary General to the Arab world, Gutierrez, is making anti-Semitic statements and sowing seeds of hatred against Israel. Yeah, Gutierrez, this is from John Haller. Great reporting. John does a marvelous job of reporting. He just does. And I appreciate it. He gives me a few good ideas each week. Okay, so basically communists hate Israel because communists hate God. Muslims hate the God of Israel because it's just jealousy. It's just jealousy. So this is where we're going, and Satan is the leader of all of these leaders that killed so many million people in the last century, and they want to kill more this century. So Lenin, Stalin, Guevara, Allende, Castro, Kim Il-sung, Pol Pot, Mao Zedong, Engels, Marx, it's all satanic. It's all Babylon, okay? And that's going into the PLO. That's stoking the hatred of the PLO today. Okay, so let's cite what the UN talked about. Let's go to Alex Newman. I couldn't handle listening to this. Who did I talk to that literally? Oh, Christopher from Two Witnesses. He listened to the whole thing. Or no. It was Watchful, and because I was on their show last night, and I couldn't handle that. I would vomit the whole time. So basically, what Alex is saying, that he wrote the book Deep State, and then now a new book, Indoctrinating Our Children to Death, has been warning of plans by the UN for total tyrannical control of your life. This past weekend at UN headquarters in the New York City, all countries sealed a deal to hand over your freedoms to these demonic people, per Alex Newman. This is probably the most important story of the decade. It is. Every world leader was there. Biden was there. Almost every world leader on the planet was there. Every president, king, dictator, everybody was there. It was a pact for the future, in their own words, is going to be morph the UN into the UN 2.0. When you read the text of this agreement that was adopted by every government on earth, every government agreed, and they said they're going to strengthen the UN. They want the UN Secretary General to explore how he will take over everything during a complex global shock. They want every nation in the world to be under the authority of the International Court of Justice. They want international cooperation on taxes. They'll tax all the high earners. Doesn't matter where you are. You can leave a high tax country, go to a low tax country, and they'll tax you. They'll find you. Okay? Turbocharging in the UN. Every area of your life is going to be affected by this agreement until this was approved. There was not a peep from the fake media in the United States. Yeah. Well, there you go. Okay, so Alex, wonderful. Just go ahead and listen to his interview with Greg Hunter. A wonderful interview. So basically, the leaders are not doing this by law anymore. They're doing it by executive fiat, and so executive orders. And so treaties in the United States were always handled by the Senate. No, they're just calling it an executive order, and it's done. And it can have the force of law. So you can show all these executive orders and say Obama barely had any at all. Some of these presidents had executive orders to declare that your feet would be National Foot Day, and, silly stuff like that. Obama made big decisions by executive order. He didn't like treaties. He didn't like coming to the Senate. And so, yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch how the presidents and other leaders. The Greek word is exousia, which means that you don't check in with your judiciary or your legislative people. You just make executive orders, and that's Revelation 6:8. It's there. Okay, so this is from the expose and Rhoda Wilson, and so it's kind of like Alex, but it's a different version. They talk about the 79th session, which is this Pact for the Future, and so then on the right-hand side, the points that she lists are human rights bias. Way down on the bottom, then the UN's targeting of Israel for human rights violations while failing to condemn China, Cuba, Saudi Arabia for human rights violations. So basically, they're selectively choosing to punish people for human rights biases. Okay? And so they're saying they're impartial. No, they're not. Okay. Then peacekeeping failure. The UN has been horrible at peacekeeping. And they're saying, well, we'll do more of that. Well, it's horrible. They're just horrible. They're cowards. Okay. Undefined terrorism. They don't know what terrorism is. They don't know how to stop it. They don't really care about it. They just wave a wand over it. Okay, climate scaremongering. Yes, that's what they do. That's what they do. Okay, continuing on, the UN yesterday, attendees at the opening of the two-day United Nations UN Summit for the Future adopted the Pact for the Future without serious and independent assessments from the outrageous crowd COVID response and without recognition of UN's technical, advisory, and moral failures. Any agenda forward should be assumed intended to serve the same authoritarian and, for the UN's partners, very profitable aims, according to two doctors. Okay. Before the UN's announcement yesterday, the Brownstone Institute published an article by these two doctors, and basically they're going to smother the people with compassion. Yeah. Part 2, UN's green agenda will spark famine. Part 3, the UN invites its friends to dinner. You'll be eaten for dinner. 3 new pacts will be approved at the UN summit. The UN machinery against human rights. Part 5 rather. So that's from the expose. Very accurate that the UN it's narcissistic. They want all the power, and you will be serfs. Who's going to lead the United Nations at some point in time? It'll be 44. He is the Nimrod of this generation, and he will not be the Antichrist. 44 will be the Nimrod. He'll be what we call Gog from Magog. You just have to flood a country's public square with enough raw sewage. You just have to raise enough questions, spread enough dirt, plant enough conspiracy theorizing that citizens will no longer know what to believe. Once they lose their trust in leaders, in mainstream media, in political institutions, in each other, in the possibility of truth, the game's won. And he's playing by his own rules. Okay? So he is running the show. And so who will eventually lead the United Nations against Israel? It'll be 44. Okay? Citizens won't know what to believe because he represents Babylon. He brings Babylon. You know he brings evil. You know that King Charles does too, but King Charles is not going to be a player. He has pancreatic cancer. He's going to die. So keep on looking for another Antichrist. It's not King Charles, and it's not Obama either. It's not, 44. So 44 will work with the United Nations externally by forging a 70-nation Kings Agreement to attack Israel simultaneously. The UN trusts Obama, or 44, he destabilizes and attacks. Okay. On the other hand, the beast, the Antichrist, will work internally to deceive Israel into believing he can bring them peace. Jews don't trust 44. Every Orthodox beastly effort will bring curses from God. It's betrayal. Two different players. That's just it. You're going to have different players in their swim lanes. Okay, that's what I want you to see on this photo. It's Babylon, but it's different swim lanes, and they're accomplishing different things. And it's all deceit. So the beast pursue Israel to betray. The false prophet pursue world faith. Gog pursue 44, pursue Israel via the UN to destroy Israel. 10 horns pursue tech control of humans. I'm arguing Elon Musk is not your friend. He invents either the mark of the beast or the image of the beast or both. Okay, the 7 kings, those are the kings of the United States, different kings. And since Nixon and Ford and all the way through, Trump will be the 7th. Okay, and then the 8th will come. That's the beast, and they will covertly curse Israel because of the UN, because it's situated in New York City. And then there are other people that pop up and mayhem. So basically, I'm seeing that evil is appointed their swim lanes, and God will win out. Okay? So this is French billionaire Philippe Aguilar claims he has 4 databases that will expose 38 individuals who run the shadow government. Bill Gates is one of those 38 individuals. The Biden administration is under the control of the shadow government. I confirm this without any hesitation based on the information that I have. Shadow. There's something behind all of this. It's the Illuminati. It's the X amount of people that run the world. Okay? They could be bankers. They could be defense contractors. They could be certain government people. Wars are big business. They're making money for the elites, and we're not making any money. We're dying for them. So what they want to do is continuous wars. Okay, Netanyahu and his wars. Well, they know what's going on right now. That Israel is under attack from many fronts because of the UN and other people. They know that they have to defeat Israel in the end to defeat God. And so basically Netanyahu says in the green down below here on the right-hand side, to sow discord among us, to use psychological warfare on the hostages' families, to apply internal and external political pressure on the government of Israel, to tear us apart from within, and to continue war until further notice, until Israel is defeated. Yeah, he's right. It's psychological warfare that's existing right now against Israel, and it's against us too. Okay, so Gog isn't going to happen for another 8-9 years, but the continuous wars will continue against Israel and against other nations that they don't like Russia. The world leaders want a war against Russia. They'd love to have a World War III. It won't happen right away. This is from John Haller again, but they want continuous wars forever, because that destabilizes the world and it causes strife. They love that. So beware of the military-industrial complex. U.S. war profiteers bring world to brink of Armageddon. This is from September 26th, so it's fresh from Zero Hedge. Sorry, I didn't mark Zero Hedge, but it is. And so foment continuous wars worldwide forever. This is from John Miles, actually, too. What they're saying is, who's going to be the most warlike in a relationship with China? Taiwan. So basically, they're trying to foment a war between China and Taiwan. And the United States is provoking it. And then they're trying to foment a war between Donbass and Russia. And so through, and you saw Zelensky just meet with Trump the other day. It's so laughable. Trump can't stand Zelensky. So pumping the country full of Western armaments. Yes, they are. Yeah. That's the problem. They've been doing it since 2014. And then you have Gaza. What do we do with Gaza? They're trying to stoke the wars across the world, and then they profiteer off it. Okay, so this is all narcissism. So if you want to watch this video, it's very interesting. It's from Meadow DeVore. She's a former Mormon, and so she lists these points that are interesting. 1, narcissists don't value you, so the UN doesn't value. They devalue you. and that's the UN. Narcissists want to control you, and they are starting to do so. Narcissists can't survive without supply. They need us to do their manual labor for them. Okay, covert narcs will destroy you. So flip the script. She says use a vulnerability test, a superiority threat. If you're a threat to their superiority, that bothers them. That makes them wonder what's going on, and they want to assert more control over you. You have to ask accountability questions. You have to make world leaders accountable to the people. Okay, so this is only a 9.5-minute video from Meadow. 3 questions to spot a narcissist, and really, really interesting because this is happening on the world stage right now. So go ahead and check it out if you want to. I have other people that I follow too, but this one seems to be more international scope. I like it. So continuing on, this is where I think the world is going. I truly thought that 2017 was the Jubilee year based on really good research. Okay, my new opinion is that these important dates of 1867, 1917, 1967, 2017 are warning signs of the last Shemitah cycle. Then that would mean 2024 would be the Shemitah year, and we're getting real close to that right now, and the Jubilee would be in 2025. That means things are going to get very busy going forward here. And so I believe the 6th seal is going to occur in 2025. We'll see. We'll see if I win out on that one. I don't know if it's such a win, but that would mean that sometime during a blood moon eclipse next year, the sun would emit an EMP when the sun goes from red, basically from yellow to white, which it's already at, to red to black. Run underground. Watch the meteorites later. And so I don't know when the 7th seal would hit after that. I just wouldn't know at all. Per Revelation 17, Trump is the 7th king. He will win. The 8th is the Antichrist, the beast. He will come from the 7. After Trump is installed, Marxist riots, chaos basically from the center of America. That's per Dimitri Duduman. Via communists, via Antifa. Cities will burn. That's from David Wilkerson. America is Babylon, Dimitri Duduman, and science will increase after October 11th, 2024. Only Trump will cause status quo changes in Israel. The red heifer has to occur. Trump will allow it. He's that bold. Okay? Then the Holy would restart. And all the Shemitah stuff should kick off around October 11th of 2024. Everything would accelerate after that time again. World governments and systems will be in turmoil. Everything will shake in 2025. There will be massive persecution of many different types. God will accomplish it, but Obama 44 will bring chaos to the center of America and elsewhere. And you can test my words. You'll be able to observe all of these things. So what's occurring here? Basically, the UN and the nations are saying, we will possess Israel's mountains. And so this is from Ezekiel 35, 10 through 15, because you say, these 2 nations, these 2 countries will be mine. We will take possession of them, says the UN, even though Adonai is there. Therefore, as I live, swears Adonai Elohim, I will deal with you as your anger and envy arising from your hatred deserve, and I will make myself known among them when I judge you. You will know that I, Adonai, have heard all your blasphemous talk against the mountains of Israel, such as they are desolated. They are given to us to devour, to the UN to devour. Moreover, you have boasted against me with your mouths, speaking more and more against me. I have heard it. Here is what Adonai says, to the joy of all the land I will desolate you. Since you rejoiced over possessing the house of Israel because it was desolate, that is what I will do to you, you will be desolate. Mount Seir and all Edom, all of it. So there's that Edomic spirit, that Esau spirit out there, and he will destroy them. They will be desolate, and you will know that he is Adonai. So that's Ezekiel 35. That's the spirit that's going on of the age right now at the United Nations. And so one other set of verses that match with this, Psalm 2, 1 through 4. Why are the nations in an uproar? The people's grumbling in vain. The earth's kings are taking positions. That's what I'm arguing. They're starting to take their positions. Leaders conspiring together against Adonai and his anointed. They cry, let's break their fetters. Let's throw off their chains. He who sits in the heaven laughs. Adonai looks at them in derision. Then in his anger he rebukes them, terrifies them in his fury. I myself have installed my king on Zion, my holy mountain. That's Yeshua. Psalm 2. We're in the birth pangs, probably in the 4th seal, 4th horseman. Not in the tribulation. We haven't seen the two witnesses yet. They come in earlier than when you go into tribulation. Then there is a great tribulation the last 3.5 years. Gog from the UN is and Magog is happening right now. We are seeing that agreement sealed. It's not the main agreement. We've got another year to go. We're not going in this year, guys. Not going in this year. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur will be his wedding or Sukkot of a future year. You need garments. You can't have dirty garments. It's a wedding. You'll be thrown out if you're naked or wearing dirty garments. Get your garments clean. Work on that. Work on your faith. Work on your prayer life. Work on reading your Bible. It's all in the Bible, guys. Take care. Be blessed. Thank you very much for your time. We'll see you hopefully next week. God bless. Bye-bye.